Hello friends, welcome back to a new video. So this is gonna be a really chill one. I just wanted to do an update to my favorite supplies video, which I can link up here. I think this was like probably a few months ago now, but there have been some updates, so I just wanted to share with you. Also, my hand movements may not match up to what I'm saying because, spoiler alert, this is a voiceover. And yeah, I tried to do it like live while I was filming the video, and that was a disaster. So here we go. It's a voiceover. So the first supply is this Derwent water brush, which I first saw on, I think her name is Sandy Hester. And I was like, oh my God, that brush is so juicy. Like, it holds a ton of water. So I had to go out and buy it, and it really is worth all the hype. It definitely holds up a lot of water. So if you're someone who likes to go outside or do like plein air type of art or go to coffee shops, then this is probably the brush for you, because previously, if I did that, I would have to take like 5 to 6 different water brushes with me, because as you know, half of that water is to clean the brush off for when you use the next colors. So definitely would recommend this Derwent water brush. And then I have this tiny little journal or sketchbook, actually, from Art Creations. It's my favorite maker of sketchbooks, and I found this tiny size. I've already made it cute. I haven't done a lot in here. I know this is not everyone's cup of tea because of the cream paper. I actually find the cream paper super soothing. I don't know what it is about a stark white blank page, but it just like gives me anxiety. I don't like it. So I really do like the cream colored paper. Next are these tiny adorable palettes that I found on Amazon, and I personally use a lot of tube watercolor, so I was super stoked that I found these little tiny empty palettes that I could pour my tube watercolor into. So I have one for neon and one for my Daniel Smith watercolors. So great for traveling and just having something that you can use on the go. So next we have watercolors, no surprise there, and thank God this is a voiceover, because let me tell you, I went on this crazy tangent. You don't need to know, I have saved you from it, but I won't even like go into it the way I was in this video, because oh my God. So I started off with this tiny little metallic watercolor palette. It's Never Ending Story themed. I bought this years ago, and I love like the pigmentation and everything of these watercolors, but I could never find something similar. And at the time, I didn't really have much use for metallic watercolors. So move on to present day, and that's when I got the yellow palette that you see there. It has like Nordic writing on there, and I believe her name is Laura K. I may be wrong. I went into a whole thing about it. Please forgive me. Every single planner video that I watch, like Hobonichi, they always mention that they use these watercolors. So I had to get myself some, and they're really beautiful. You'll see me swatch them here in a little bit. So this palette is a combo of matte and pearlescent colors, and there's a few, maybe a couple that has like glitter in it. And here I'm swatching, I think this is called Draco, which is one of my favorites. It's like a dark green. But when I went to try the pearlescent and the glitter colors, I was a bit underwhelmed. I think it didn't really swatch well, or at least when it was wet, but like you'll see here when I do it. But then when I decided, well, I spent money on these, so I need to find a use for them, I decided to swatch my Hobonichi, and then when they dried, I was really surprised. They're like super pretty. So then I fell down the metallic watercolor rabbit hole and I found this maker on Amazon, and it says that they're handmade from Germany, and they took a while to get to me, so they look handmade to me as well. So they were super pretty, look so pigmented in the pan. But when I swatched them, again, I don't know if it's because they're metallic. I'm just not used to that, because with the Hydracolour one, the little tiny never-ending story palette, the colors are super pigmented, even when wet. So here I'm just showing you, like, I use them in my my little Hobonichi, and I was happy with the color. I think that once they dry, it's a different quality that you see. So definitely happy with these. I would recommend these as well. And then I have my Kuretake watercolors. I've wanted Kuretake watercolors for a long time, or Kuretake, I'm not sure how you say it, but these swatched so beautifully right off the bat, super pigmented. At first I was like, is this gouache? Because that's how beautiful they swatched wet, and then when they dried, they have like a little sheen to them. I don't think I have them in here. You're gonna see me flip through this, but I will swatch it for you, I believe, here in a few minutes. And then just there, I'm showing you my other favorite brush that I've been using a lot. It's my Royal and Langnickel Zen brush. It's around a size 14. It's just super floppy. It holds a lot of water, super fun to use. Again, highly recommend. So here I'm gonna use the lavender so you guys can see. It goes on super milky and juicy, I would call it. Definitely, it's very juicy, and it's just so soft and pretty. I can't say enough good things about it. I have heard that Kuretake makes some of the best watercolors, and they're definitely worth the price. So then I told myself, well, now you need more pastel like watercolors, and pay attention, people. This is how rabbit holes happen, and then you're buying all kinds of things. But no, I actually really needed pastel colors, because the tubes that are available for pastel like watercolor are super expensive, and they only come in like the really big size. So I really love these. I never used Arteza before. This one comes with a little water pen, super cute. And I can say that I was very pleased and surprised at that pigmentation. Like, look at these colors, amazing. So again, I would recommend this as well if you are a watercolor fanatic like I am, and I will link everything down in the description in case I don't remember the names for everything. Next up are the Stabilos. If you don't know what Stabilos are, they look like giant pencils, but they go on like a combo between crayon and oil pastel. But then you can also use water to like move them around and melt them and stuff. It's so cool. I have been using these a lot, and I'll show you here in a bit if I can stop blabbering. There we go. Look at how smooth that is. It's just like super creamy and soft. They're like a pleasure, truly, to use. And here I'm showing you the blue. Again, super pigmented. It goes on so nice and creamy. And I'm gonna show you too, like what happens when you add water. So they completely melt away and spread out. You can't really see how they spread out on this background because I think it's a little bit dark. But try it on like a notebook or a plain paper. They melt and they don't leave like that shadow of what it used to be, if you know what I'm talking about. And here I did it over the wet paper, and it's even more pigmented if that's possible. So definitely recommend those. And then moving quickly into the next one, these are my Sig markers. I've had these for years. If you make sure you close them real tight, they will last forever. I think my favorite thing about these is that they mimic watercolor. They're just a little bit more pigmented, but again, you can sort of dilute them with water and spread them out if you wanted to. It's a great alternative to using watercolor because you don't have to wait for them to dry really. And I use these a lot to paint the cheeks on my magazine images and my art journal spreads. Next up are my new Molotov acrylic paint markers. I'm not gonna say that these will replace my Poscas, but they are definitely less temperamental than Poscas. If you know, you know. So you're gonna see me swatch them here. They take very little shaking or even like having to get them started the way you do with Poscas. And right off the bat, like super juicy, super pigmented, just the best. So this one here is the Neon Pink. Definitely one of my favorites. I use it all the time now. And then the other one is a Neon Yellow. And same thing, it was consistent. I didn't need to do a lot to get them started to look this pigmented. And I also have like what is called the poison green, but it's very close to this yellow, so I'm not even going to show you that, but I would highly recommend these markers. So that's going to be it for me for my mid-year recap of my favorite supplies. I still also use the other supplies in that video that I linked at the beginning, but I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!